So let me tell you a story about a church. This church has been around for a couple of centuries now and has always gotten by just fine. They have a lovely building that takes some work to keep up, but serves its purpose. They've always had ministers and staff who they like well enough. They pay them decently, but nothing outrageous. There are lots of talented people in the congregation, so they often don't need to pay for things. This church makes do with the furniture and supplies they've been using for years, and tries not to pay for guest preachers or musicians too often. When pledge season comes around every year, most folks give the same as they did last year. Every so often, folks will give a little bit of extra money for an extra project, but only if they know exactly what that money will be used for. And when budget time comes around, they often end up settling for the budget that will balance, but doesn't have the increases that they might have hoped for. They figure it would have been nice to give the religious educator a raise or try out that new social justice program, but they don't need it. Things are going fine after all. There are people in the pews, the heat gets paid every month, and they aren't about to shut their doors. I'm sorry. It was a late night, and I was boring even myself with that story. So, let me tell you a different story. Let's rewind. Let's try this again. This church has been around for a couple centuries now and is eager to grow into a 21st century church. They have a lovely historic building, and they are working hard to figure out how to make it work for the new kind of church community that they are creating. They have a staff that both nurtures the community and challenges them to grow. They're about to start looking for a new religious educator and are committed to attracting someone excellent, someone who can take the program to the next level. There are a lot of talented people in the congregation, and they are always excited to bring in outside voices and talents to supplement and bolster their own. The folks in this church love trying new technologies and new programs. They don't spend money frivolously because they're New Englanders, but know that you often get what you pay for, and so are willing to spend money to make sure their staff and volunteers have the tools they need to succeed. This church gives away the money from their offering each week to community organizations, and the members and friends generously support the church as well. When pledge season comes around, as it does every year, they set themselves an ambitious goal. Since their programs are always deepening and expanding, that goal is bigger every year. When budget time comes around, it's always exciting to see what new programs or staff hours they've made possible with their pledges for the upcoming year. The members of this congregation love their church. They find hope and inspiration on Sunday mornings and in classes and programming throughout the week. Their children are eager to come to church each week to see their friends and deepen their faith. They love that there are new faces in the pews and in coffee hour, and are eager to spread the love they have found in their church out into our world. Now I have to ask you, which church do you think we are? What do you think? 1? Raise your hand if you think we're church number 1. No. Oh. What about church number 2? You got it. So my next question was going to be, which are we poised to become? What do you think? Maybe number 2? Maybe? Now, in my mind, we have the potential to be both. We have the power to choose which story we want to live into, which future we want to build together. As Robert Latham says, given the choice between an uninspiring mode of maintenance or an inspiring mode of challenge and growth, into which kind of congregation would I prefer to invest my life and resources? I know what my answer is. Now I'm going to tell you a hard truth. For several years now, this congregation has been in maintenance mode. You've been church number 1. With the last few years of a long settled ministry, this is often the case. It's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a certain complacency, a settling for good enough. Nothing is broken, right? So no need to change. That's not to say that nothing has happened here. You've done a few things, right? That first congregation I described isn't necessarily bad. It's getting by. Things are just fine. And this is one of the directions we could go together. We could find a new normal, not too different from the old normal, a couple new faces maybe. We could settle for a new normal that will be comfortable and safe sooner rather than later. We could have a year or two of settling in together and getting to know each other and then revert back to maintenance mode. We could give just enough to keep things going. We could keep our vision small and our commitment low. This would certainly be the easy way to go. But I have to say that I don't think that that's what you were going for when you called me to be your minister. What do you think? One of the great blessings of candidating week was that I got to sit with you all for 9 days, 8, however long that was. It felt like a long time. But I got to sit with you all and hear your dreams for this church and for our faith. What a blessing. And those dreams, let me tell you, those dreams were not small. You told me that you wanted to grow, both in size and in vitality. You told me that you wanted to be a force for justice in this community. You told me that you wanted sermons and programs that were spiritually challenging and deepening. You told me that you wanted your children and youth to feel welcomed, respected, and loved. You told me you wanted an experienced and talented, settled director of lifespan religious education to lead our RE programs into the future. You told me you wanted a church that was ready for the changing realities of our 21st century world. Does that sound about right? Did I capture that? Now, these are not small dreams. These are not the dreams of a congregation that wants to be in maintenance mode. Our theme for worship this month is desire. What does it mean to be a people of desire? Now, I know that there are plenty of religious traditions that question desire. There are plenty of reasons to talk about desire as something that can be taken to excess. You've probably seen this. We live in this intensely consumerist society that tells us to want more and more and more. So I thought about standing up here today and telling you to desire less for yourself and give more to the church. I could have tried to make you feel guilty for that extra cup of coffee that you bought yesterday. But I wonder if the message that you really need to hear is just the opposite. I don't actually want you to desire less. I want you to desire more for this congregation and for our faith. I want you to embrace those big dreams you shared with me last May I want you to lean into all the possibilities that lie ahead of us. What does it mean to be a people of desire? It means that we dream big. We don't let ourselves limit our dreams. In fact, we know that if we limit our dreams, we limit ourselves. We limit the extent that we can live into our mission. We limit the extent to which we can spread the good news of Unitarian Universalism to the world. As Robert Latham says, the spirit of abundance always sees what is possible. It's not just an attitude towards resources, it's an attitude towards life. Being a people of desire means that we set our expectations high, and we have faith that those high expectations will lead us into that future that we've dreamed about. So let me ask you another question. Are you ready? Are you ready to be a people of desire? Are you ready to embrace that spirit of abundance? Are you ready to dream big together? I knew I could get you to talk. Okay, good. But here's the part where I have to tell you another hard truth. Embracing the spirit of abundance is exciting, but it's not easy. Embracing abundance also means embracing change. It means embracing discomfort, uncertainty, and growing pains. It means that each of us have to commit to this path with our hearts, with our time, and with our money. It means that every year I'm actually going to stand up here and tell you that we need a little bit more than we needed last year. If we are a vital church growing and deepening each year, we will never stop needing more resources. That scared me when I realized it for the first time. This isn't a one-time ask. This isn't a let's get over this hump and then we'll never have to ask for more again. I'm asking you to commit, not just for this year, but for our future, for the future we dream of. So I'm going to ask you again, because there's still time to back out. Are you ready? Are you ready to be a people of desire? Are you ready to embrace the spirit of abundance? Are you ready to dream big together?
Yes.
You still are. Great. I know I am. And here's the good news. Challenge is good for the soul. Commitment deepens your spirit, and discomfort is a sign of growth. And no matter where we go on this journey, we're in it together. Now, over the next month, as Harry mentioned, we're asking you to make a financial commitment to this congregation for our next fiscal year. As you consider your commitment for the next year, consider as well the dreams you have for this congregation. And don't limit those dreams. Please, don't limit them. Dream big. Embrace the possibilities of this moment in time, this unique, beloved community. Embrace the excitement of stepping forward into a whole new kind of church. Embrace that spirit of abundance. Say yes to all that you love about this congregation, and say yes to all that we could be.